What's up? What's up? It's the Arthur Moats Experience with Deke. I'm Arthur Moats, and that's my main man, Deke.
Bro, what's up?
Man, just chilling. I love how you broke out the Lambert today. I love the positive vibes, regardless of the outcome yesterday.
You hit it right on the head, dude. I need something to be positive about. Yeah. And I'm trying to just throw out some good energy, even though, man, it's not good right now.
No, man. We got a lot to be positive and thankful about. It's the holiday season.
I don't want to hear it, dude. I'm not a big holiday guy.
We got the opportunity to talk to the people that love to listen to us.
It's an honor.
Steelers Nation,
yes.
You know what I mean? It's a privilege, to honor. I mean, we hold this position with high regard and esteem.
I do, yeah.
So, yeah, it's a lot to be positive about, man. Yeah.
You didn't mention something, though.
What are you talking about? Come on, man. Look. We both got families. Everybody's healthy. It's a lot to be positive about, bro. What you talking about?
Dude. You know how it is here in Pittsburgh.
Oh, man.
And speaking of family, the Steelers are like family.
Yes, they are.
And I don't even know what you would call it, because this season's just been such a tease. It's been a mess. It's been, I don't even know what you call it. I don't even know if disappointment's the right word, because, I mean, what else do you expect?
So, I guess the feeling that all the Steelers Nation has today is that feeling of when you believe the hope, when you have that, just the glimpse. Because early in the season, right, when we knew Ben went down, it was no hope. It was like, it's over, it's done. And we talked about how during that time frame, some people received negative comments because of their lack of optimism in terms of the success of Mason Rudolph at the time, and then when it became Duck. But we jumped on the hype train. We was like, we're gonna roll with it. We're gonna take this hope. We're gonna hold it with high regard and hold it near and dear to our heart. And what we felt yesterday, and that feeling that you're feeling today, is when hope has been snatched.
Yep.
It hurts. It's kind of like when you open yourself up to love somebody, right? Typically, you like, I'm gonna be reserved. I'm not gonna open myself. I'm not gonna be emotionally attached because if it don't work out, hey, I ain't lose anything.
Then you're hurting.
Yes, that's what we're feeling right now, man. It sucks. It's not good.
It's definitely. I started feeling it last week, because remember at the beginning of the podcast, I said, "Are we lying to ourselves?"
Yeah.
But there was still hope. Yeah. There was still a Jets game to be played. We were gonna beat them.
Yeah, because you did say they were like trash, the most trash team ever. And oh, man, Deke. This is I feel like it's a reoccurring theme when I come in here and I talk about how I don't like when I'm right sometimes. Because last week, well, actually 2 weeks ago when we were doing the Buffalo game, you trashed
Hold on.
No. And then we did it again with the Jets game, and I'm like, Deke, they still have some guys, and you're like, Sam Darnold, trash. This guy, trash. I'm not worried about that guy and this guy. You did do that.
No, dude, you're making it way more black and white than how I put it out there.
No.
I said I would, if old me would say Sam Darnold's trash, but
and you
I'm not. I said
still trash.
I said I'm not worried about this game though with him.
Right? You said you're not worried.
I mean,
I was worried.
Come on, dude. Just like Josh Allen, he didn't do anything crazy against us.
He didn't turn the ball over versus us. That's pretty crazy.
That's it. And
that's pretty crazy.
We were asleep at the wheel the first drive, and that cost us. That really did.
Okay.
That came back to bite us.
So that was it. What about the 22 consecutive games with turnovers?
All they had was field goals. No, I'm talking about from their team.
Yeah, from their team. Yeah,
from their team. And this is the thing.
They still operated and executed when they needed to.
This is the thing, though, dude. Mm-hmm. We were lying to ourselves. This is what it comes down to.
Now it's we were lying to ourselves. Go ahead, keep going. Let me hear this.
There was smoke and mirrors, especially with the offense. The defense still, they played good enough for us to win, and they stepped T.J. Watt. I mean, he got us in the game, back into it. So wait, what else you want?
No, I'm just
you're just sitting there like, all right, keep going.
Because for me, I don't feel like I was lying to myself. I feel like I've been realistic the whole time through this roller coaster, because I know what this goes, how this goes, and things like that. And I also know that even though these past 2 weeks have been bad in terms of ball security, I mean, this is what 7 turnovers in 2 games, 6 interceptions in 2 games. Yeah, you come out here and Duck plays well and the offense looks good on Sunday. You're going to be back on that hype train. You're going to be back feeling good. And especially if the Titans lose and we're in the playoffs, that whole optimism, that whole hope bounces right back. For me, that's why I always like to stay even killed through it all, because I know how the ebb and flow goes, man. And
no, what happened in this game is it was almost like the Bengals game, but it didn't go our way. It was the epitome of the season.
Yeah.
All right, first drive starts. Well, actually, we'll just say from the offensive standpoint.
Yeah.
Duck goes out there. All right, we're moving the ball. A little bit of hope, just like the beginning of the season. Just because the season starts, there's a little bit of hope. Ben goes down. No hope. Out the window. Duck throws 2 picks.
Yeah.
No hope. Out the window. What are we going to do? Bring in Mason. Mason comes in. Holy crap, man. Like,
good. Balled out.
Where was this? It looked like new throwing mechanics, new zip on the ball.
No.
Just
14 to 20, 129 yards on a tutty.
There was something new that we saw from Mason. I don't know what it was.
He looked more confident.
He looked a lot more confident. Loose. He looked loose.
He was just playing free.
Exactly.
That's what it looked like, man.
And you touched on this whenever he first got benched. This might have been actually a good thing for him, getting benched. And I mean, because next time he would come in, you said he'd be playing with nothing to lose. He would be playing with that confidence that Duck initially had, and the skill set that he had this whole time started to come out because of that. So what happens at that point? Hope is back, baby, because
hope is back.
The offense is looking good. TJ Watt, strip sack, fumble recovery.
Trifecta.
10-10 at halftime. I mean, wow. I'm not even thinking at this point we're going to win the game, because that is locked up. The game is locked up. I'm thinking, wow, last week I didn't think we could beat Kansas City or Houston. Now
we're going on the road. We're getting that.
If Mason is playing like this,
lock it up. It's done.
We got a good shot, and I'm liking this. So that's where my mindset was. And then all of a sudden, Mason goes down. We give up a couple field goals. We can't score. We lose the game. What's the point?
Oh, man. So for me, I look at it like this, right? I was asking myself.
And that's the season. That's the season in a 1-game sample. Yeah. It was just, we witnessed it there. It was like art. It was art almost.
Oh, man. For me, when I woke up this morning, I was asking myself, I was like, would I rather see the Steelers make it into the playoffs?
Yeah, I would.
Or would I rather them just win, but for some reason they don't make it in and just go on a high note, end the season on a high note, right? Versus seeing them in the playoffs and it being a disaster. But for me,
we need playoffs.
Enough, I'm still optimistic, man. I think that when you're talking about this team, I definitely think they are more than capable of making it, and more than capable of making some noise, and using your words. But here's why.
There's one caveat to that, but go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you the things that need to happen and the things that they need to get rid of.
Okay.
The first thing is from a defensive standpoint, the fact that this is the crazy standard that they're on right now. Multiple games now where they've held a team under 17 points. In the NFL, you hold a team under 17 points, that's usually a win. You chalk that up. They're 3-3 right now in those games. So we know that they got to make that standard higher. It's got to be 10 or less, or shutouts, right? That's the standard. And we've seen that happen with elite level defenses. So that, I don't think that's asking too much of them. The second thing is, like I said, the 22 consecutive games with the turnover. You have to dead that. Absolutely. Right now. You can't win games right now with the lack of offensive talent and offensive productivity that this team has had this year. You cannot continue to turn the ball over, and not just 22 straight games with turnovers. I would love to do the math to see how many games were multi-turnover games, because yesterday was a multi-turnover game. The week before that was a multi-turnover game. We can go down the list of how many multi-turnover games we've had on top of just 22 straight games with turnovers. That has to stop ASAP for this team to be successful. Then I also look at the quarterback play. We saw the spark that Mason provided, but then we also saw when Duck came back in, he still did enough to give those guys opportunity at the end of the game. You can make the argument for the James Washington play. Shit, he had canned down. What did he have 2 hands on it? You can make the argument for the Juju Smith-Schuster play. Either way you want to make it. Those guys feel that they should have caught him because when you at this level, you feel that if the ball touches my hands, I got to have that. And that's what if you hear those guys in the media, their response to the games, and shout out to both of them too for actually facing the media after the game.
Wait, James said he should have caught it. That is a tough play, though. That is a tough play.
Would you expect it from other top receivers? You would. And that's the standard.
There's one person that comes to mind, yes.
Yeah, that's the standard, though. So for those guys, they know that that's where they want to be. So if they want to be there, they have to make those plays. So those are the things that I'm thinking, okay, those things have to get better. Those players have to make those plays. You have to make sure the throws are better as well. Offensive line style, they have to play a lot better. But other than that, I'm like, well, obviously the running game, we can't just glaze over that. But the running game has been inconsistent all season as well.
Inconsistent, but it's weird. Connor's in there the last 2 games. Mm-hmm. He's looked good. I don't know what it is. Whenever he has to sit out, whenever he's hurt, and then Snell comes in and we have a mix of these other guys, that's when it's like non-existent. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the heck the difference is there. If it's just Connor's the better back like that.
Whoa. I'll say this now. The past 2 games, that was the case.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Prior to that, remember, their best rushing games as a whole unit were when James wasn't in. You think about what they did versus Cincinnati. You saw they looked versus Cleveland as well in those following games, those back-to-back games where Benny Snell went for like 90-something yards. Yeah. Kareth White had success.
I guess the question is then, if James just had those numbers, though, if he was in.
But
because he was out for that long stretch.
But this is the thing I always tell you. And this is where when you made the argument for Duck and how we were praising Duck, I said sometimes the level of competition and who you're going against plays a factor. The Jets have one of the best run defenses in the NFL.
Yes.
Nobody talks about it because their team as a whole hasn't been playing up to their, I guess, what the expectation was for those players in New York. Dude, but their defense is top notch.
Hey, we were woke. We were talking about it last week, weren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, without a doubt, because I know what it looks like. Yeah, a lot of people just glaze over, oh, they only have 5 wins. I'm like, they are a lot better than what that record shows. The thing that I wasn't disappointed in our offense not being able to run the ball on that defense. And then when I found out Jamal Adams was going to play, I wasn't even surprised that our offense struggling to move the ball because I know how good Jamal Adams is. What I was frustrated by was the lack of pressure and pass rush that we had in that game versus the Jets offensive line that had their 3rd and 4th string guys. It was just a makeshift. The only starter that they had in their offensive line was Kelvin Beachum. Everybody else was either a 2nd or 3rd string guy. They had the guard playing. The guy that played guard was a backup tackle, had never played guard before. That was my biggest issue because at no point did we feel, oh, it was such a hostile environment for Sam Darnold. Did we ever feel that watching that game? No. Even when TJ made the play, it was like, oh, this is a great play. When Bud had to say, oh, it's great. But we never felt that, like how in games we saw where they played the Chargers, for example, and Phillip Rivers was just running for his life. Like we never got that sense. And that was the thing that I was most disappointed by.
True.
But I chalked it up as, hey, that's one of those games. I said it's one of those games because we know defensively those guys have played at a high level all season, and in particular those pass rushers.
So you don't think they played that well, or at least up to the standard?
Not to their standard, no. Because I look at it this way: they have definitely had to shoulder the load this season, right? Mm-hmm. And they have also had to play to an unfair level of expectations, correct? Mm-hmm. But I guess this is what I want to say was Chuck Norris that said this. It's like, I don't want you to do enough. I want you to do what you're capable of. So yeah, is it enough for them to just play a team to 17 points? Sure. Keep them under 17. Yeah. Okay, cool. Keep Le'Veon Bell under 100 yards rushing, under 100 total yards, even though he still was impactful. But like
he definitely was.
Yeah. But it's like, was that good enough? Yeah, that was good enough. But is that what they're capable of? This team is capable, from a defensive standpoint, is capable of so much more than what we saw yesterday. So for me, that was the thing that rubbed me wrong because I was like, I know you guys can do more than that. And now some of the stuff, like I said, it was bad breaks and things like that. Obviously, Joe Hayden, I thought it was an interception. It was very...
You think?
It looked like it, but then it's like, depending on how you want to view it.
I was shocked when that dude came on the TV, the ref...
Yeah,
like the
Gene Sturridge,
the ref analyst they have. I was shocked that he was saying that would have been a pick, just based off everything that has happened
I thought
with
it was
these catches and stuff.
The catch, you see him holding it in one hand, so that shows he has it secure, and then you see him take 3 steps. So for me, I'm like, what's the difference if that was an offensive player doing that? If it was an offensive player, you're saying that's a catch. It's a completion. So for me, that was the thing that I was kind of like, but a lot of times I don't even like to go down that rabbit hole of catch, no catch, because I've obviously been on the wrong end of those a couple of times. But when I'm looking at that defense, I'm like, it never felt like they were doing enough to create a hostile environment for Sam Darnold, and they had guys running open. I wasn't a fan. Even the opening touchdown to Robbie Anderson.
That was a good throw, though.
No. I understand it's a good throw, but let's be real about it. If you have a bracket coverage, which they did on Robbie, there's no reason why he should split those two guys and be behind you. Period. And I'm not going to say who it was, this guy versus that guy, but either way, that should not happen. Good throw or not, should not happen. So with that being the case, that was a play that I was very disappointed in. And then, like I said, we already talked about the lack of consistent pressure on those guys, especially with the makeshift offensive line that they had. Those are the biggest things that stood out to me.
Well, I brought this point up earlier in this episode. We came out flat that first drive, and I feel like that cost us because they didn't end up scoring a touchdown the rest of the game. They had all field goals. Yeah. So,
but field goals add up, though.
No, but I mean, your point is completely valid. Like, you put it the best way. It's just we played good enough to win. Like, you can't really knock the defense. We gave up 16 points, but
good enough
for this game and like what the team needs and what you're capable of. It was just a little disappointing because you saw throughout the game the chunks of yards they were able to give up and how they were able to sustain drives.
Yes,
yeah, they were only getting field goals, but the time of possession they had, exactly.
And at the end of the day, you can't continue to keep giving up field goals because we know those adds. We went on the road in Kansas City in a playoff game off of straight field goals.
All field goals,
Yeah, like that adds up. And if you have multiple opportunities to get off the field, possession downs, those are like your third down plays. If you have multiple possession downs and you're allowing offenses to continue their drives, sustain drives, that's the issue. If you have chances to get your hand on a pass and get an interception, you got to come down with it. Those are the things that, like I said, they feel the same way. When you listen to these guys and how they talk, TJ Watt after the game, he says the same things. He knows what they're capable of. Cam Hayward, they know what they're capable of. It's just because of the circumstances across the on offense for them now, they have to elevate to, sometimes it might be unfair in terms of what we expect from them, but it doesn't matter.
Definitely.
That's just what it is right now.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think you put it the best way you could. And with this offense, though, man, I don't know. Like I said, how do we feel about it going forward? Because
I'm optimistic.
Ow, dude! Like the only way, and this is what I wanted to say to you whenever you were talking about, we're optimistic, and these are the reasons why, or these are the things that have to happen. I think Mason's got to be the starter.
But Mason's out for the next couple
of weeks
at least.
Dude, that's what I mean. Yeah. So I'm not feeling hopeful at all.
See, for me, the reason why I'm optimistic is this. Duck is getting the real life experiences of being an NFL quarterback. Duck got to ride the wave of playing mediocre to below average defense to get a lot of confidence. And obviously the hype train around him grew big, and it was good because he was making the plays that he needed to make in those games. But now he's faced some stingier defenses now. That Bills defense, that Jets defense. You think this Ravens defense is going to be stingy too? And this is the thing I love too when everybody's like, well, they're going to rest their starters. It's 46 guys on an active roster. You're not going to rest 22 guys.
Dude, you can't.
It's not happening.
That's the thing.
You might rest 7 guys, tops.
You can't tell me as a Steeler fan you wouldn't be taking RG3 right now as your quarterback.
Of course you would. But when I said that, y'all thought I was crazy.
Who said?
Who? Now who would be you? What?
I said you were crazy.
Yes.
No.
Yes. And then when I said the Josh Allen thing, you said I was crazy about that too?
I don't remember the RG3
stop it.
thing.
Yes. Yes. Are you serious? Wow.
Dude.
Yeah.
The RG3.
Yes. I said, and this was when the Duck hype train was like at full force. You were like, man, I'll take Duck over all those dudes.
No. Come on.
Okay.
No. Okay. I never said anything because I knew. No, dude. Okay. I knew you were trying to trap me.
Okay. I said I would take a RG3, a Josh Allen.
No, I know.
And I even said Sam Darnold.
You named a bunch of dudes.
He was like, nah.
I didn't say I would
you
take
were riding the Duck because you said Duck is the best guy for our team right now. That's how you said it. You said he was the best guy for our team right now.
I think the way I put it was there's a vibe going on, and I don't want to.
The best guy for our team right now.
I don't want to kill this vibe.
That's what you told me.
Yeah. But I definitely came to the moment this weekend. I'm watching the Bucks game.
Yeah,
I did watch Patriots Bills. I watched all those games on Saturday.
Yeah.
But the Bucks game really stuck out because Jameis most people, he's a polarizing quarterback.
Absolutely.
It's either oh man, he's got so much potential. He's got the cannon. He could string a drive in like 3 plays, or he's throwing picks, making the worst decisions. Right. He's awful. And I was watching him play, and you could even say with Darnold versus us, there is definitely just a different level of quarterback play there.
Yeah.
That, man, I would take those two dudes.
But then,
now.
let's be real though. When Mason came back in, we got to see that a little bit.
He looked like it.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
The thing that we talked about in terms of Mason versus Duck, we said at the time Duck had what they call the it factor, right? And how he could go out here and just make stuff happen. And dude, we talked about how with Mason though, but with Mason checked the box in everything in terms of the prototypical size, the arm strength, the accuracy. But the one thing we said, the difference between those guys was one plays not to mess up and the other plays like he has nothing to lose. That's what we said the difference between the two were. We saw what it looked like though when you take that guy who has all those intangibles and actually goes out there and plays with nothing to lose. We saw what that looked like. That looked like NFL starting quarterback. That looked like a quarterback with a first round grade on him.
Even back to the preseason.
Yeah.
Because he showed that in the preseason.
And the only time it changed, because remember, that was a conversation between him versus Dobbs, and he beat Dobbs out clearly. So for me, I looked at it like, it looked as if once he got named the starter when Ben went down, he felt that he had to operate differently. And I think sometimes...
Yeah, because people want to say, whenever he got knocked out against the Ravens, that's when it flipped.
No,
the 49ers game was awful.
Yeah, he was been doing that, yeah. His best game was the Seahawks game, and then the quarter that we saw him play this
the Ravens
versus the Jets. Well, the Ravens too.
The Ravens, he looked good,
right?
Too. Yeah.
But that's the difference. It was like, it just seemed as if once he got named QB1, he had to operate like, hey, QB1s do this, they say this, they say that, they dress like this, they do that. And it's no knock on him because everyone has gone through it. I mean, when I first got named to start, I went from wearing and I got guys that joke with me about this to this day. When I first came to Pittsburgh and I was the backup, I wore my sweatsuit on the plane. I'm like, man, give me the little travel suit with the Steelers logo. I'm gonna zip it up. I might throw some house Uggs on, and that's how we travel to the game. And then was it week 3? Jarvis gets hurt in that Carolina Panthers game, and I'm the starter the next week. From then on, I'm coming up in suits. I'm wearing shirt and tie home and away games. And I remember like my guy, he would look at me all the time, and he would say, "Yo, you done changed up." He said, "Boy, you done became the starter, and now you dressing different. Look what you eat for breakfast now." I'm like, "Yo, you right." We all go through it though, man. It's until
were you talking differently in the interviews? Like, were you a lot more like polished, making sure you said the right things?
I wouldn't say that I would talk differently, but I was definitely more available to the media.
Okay.
Whereas like before, I'd be kind of like, man, if we win, all right, I might stand in the locker room. If we lost, I'm like, I'm not talking to y'all. but once you became the starter, it's like, no, I gotta talk. Like,
it's my responsibility.
Yeah, if I don't speak, who's gonna speak? And and that's how you think of it sometimes when you get named. But then I've seen the other side where guys get named the starter and it doesn't faze them. Like, everybody is different in that regard, but that's why when I saw Mason, I'm like, the reason I can tell you what Mason's doing because I've done that.
How'd you snap out of it? Or is there...
you know how I snapped out of it? I actually, and this was actually before Pittsburgh. This happened in Buffalo. In Buffalo, when I first got named the starter, this would have been going into because like I had started games my first 2 years, but it was never on like that large scale. But this would have been, it was either midway through my second year because I had beat out Kirk Morrison to be named the starting linebacker. And we're going through the first 5-6 games. And like I said, I'm on it. I'm like, I got to talk like this. I got to line up like this. I got to make sure I ask this question when the coach says this, all these things. And I got pulled versus the Arizona Cardinals to put my boy Nigel Bradham, man. I remember I was so embarrassed. I'm like, yo. And it sucked because in San Fran the week before was like the game, like we just got trashed. Kaepernick, Alex Smith, Vernon Davis, Frank Gore, they demolished us. But we had to stay out there for 2 weeks. We stayed in San Fran the rest of the week and then went to AZ and stayed out there for that upcoming game. And I'm like, yo, I got benched. I'm on the road. Like this is miserable. And I remember like going through a phase of being just like, yo, I don't even want to be out here. And funny thing, the way I snapped out of it, wifey tells me, yo, go to the mall, go buy yourself something. So I go to the mall, go buy myself like a pair of True Religion jeans. First time I spent really, this is a true story. First time I spent $200 on a pair of jeans. And she was like, yeah, man, you good, man. Just wear the jeans. Don't worry about like what's going on with football. And I just remember like just that thought of like, you know, it's bigger than this, man. I'm straight. Like, I'm going to get another opportunity. I'm going to ball out whenever it happens. I remember buying them jeans, and it just took me buying the jeans. I was relaxed. I'm like, all right, whatever. And from then on, but I think it was the end of the season, I got the opportunity to go back and be the starter again. And I literally started the rest of that year. And then the following season, I ended up starting with the last 2 seasons up there, started, 13 out of 16 games my last year. And then I think it was another like 10 games my third year. And then from there, it was just like, all right, you just relax more. Like, sometimes it's just simple as just going, hey, man, it's bigger than that, man. Just go buy yourself something. Just like take your mind off of that ground. Because for me, I was thinking like, yo, I got benched. All right, I need to go watch even more film. I got to go work out even more. I can't talk on the phone. I can't play no video games. I got to do this, and this. She's like, nah, like, just go relax, man. Go to the store, go buy some jeans. Stop thinking football for a little while. And it was just something that simple, man, but it helped me out. And sometimes, like, whatever Mason went through to get him over that hump, like, it worked.
So Pittsburgh, you were more feeling it though with the suit.
I was. Well,
like,
because this was
it was a combo.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, when I got to Pittsburgh, it's different because I'm in a locker and I'm looking at Troy Polamalu. I'm starting opposite James Harrison, the guy that I was studying tape on to be who I wanted to be in the NFL. It's just a different level. So I'm like, yo, if I'm gonna be a starter here, like, I feel like I had to, you know, look the part because it's different.
And you were digging it.
Yeah, when I'm walking into a game for the Bills as a starter, there's no cameras. When I was walking to for Pittsburgh, man, there's cameras for a home away game. They're gonna walk with you the whole way.
That definitely makes sense then.
So I'm like, I gotta look it. Yeah. and like I said, man, it took me going through a little bit, even here in Pittsburgh, of like the rotation, the ins and outs. And then it was like, all right, I got this, man. It's football. That's what it is, football. Relax. But I was a lot more mature at that stage in my career than I was early on. Yeah.
Good for him, man, because if he can keep this, well, I guess we're not going to really see this season, but
you have to feel a lot more optimistic about him going forward, though.
Yeah, that's the only problem. We only saw it for a couple quarters, but at least it seemed like he turned the page.
It was a distinct difference between
100%.
Who is the capable quarterback that gives you the best chance to win. If Ben weren't to come back, if Ben were not to come back, you know, going forward, who would be your guy?
Yeah. I would feel good about not drafting a person or bringing someone in, because there's people talking about, well, actually, let's just backtrack a little bit. You just texted me before we came on the podcast. Come on, dude. Why'd you have to do that, man?
Well, I just wanted to make you privy to the information.
It's already bad news today just because of the Steeler game. Now it's just worse news. I'm just feeling awful. But the report, there was a Bleacher Report.
Yeah, actually, from Mortensen.
Yeah.
From, Chris Mortensen.
And they said Ben has some doubts about playing next year. His people on the inside were talking to him about it. And there was people I saw in comment. It might have been on Twitter or Instagram. I can't remember. But there were people in the comments saying, oh, let's try to get Phillip Rivers or Eli Manning, Teddy Bridgewater. That just from those 2 quarters or quarter and a half we saw from Mason makes me feel like let's not worry about that.
Well, and this is the thing that I have been telling people.
See what happens.
Well, and that's what I have been telling people a lot this year in terms of Mason. When people were, yo, you need to bench him, man. Let's go make that switch. I said, he's a young quarterback. He's going to have some games where he looks good. He's going to have some games where he looks bad. The thing that you know is this. He's more than capable of, if he ever gets on, you know he has the intangibles to do this, and this. In terms of his best is going to be better than what Duck's best could be if all things were similar. And that was the thing that I was always getting at, and why a lot of the football heads in terms of management, in terms of beat reporters were like, no, you still give Mason these opportunities because you know it takes time to develop. We talked about Ben. We talked about how, Ben, his rookie year would produce in those clutch moments, as you call it, right? In the last 2 minutes of games, right? But you also knew that Ben had everything else checked off. You knew at any point in the game he could make that throw. Any point in the game he could get out of this. Any point in the game he could do that. And that's with Mason. You know he has that. And that's the difference. But at the time this season, when his confidence was shot, Duck had the confidence and the team was finding ways to win. So you had to ride with him.
What's weird is even with the abilities, some of the throws would look like he didn't have the abilities, where balls would be floated. Yeah. It's just like, where is that zip? Where's that fire on the ball?
Playing not to mess up.
So that
if you shoot to not miss, you think you're going to miss or you're going to make it?
So you really think that's why some of the balls were like fluttering?
For a fact, when you play not to mess up, imagine this, right, Deke?
Because at the end of his run, his like first run as starter with us, people were saying like he's got a weak arm just because of how some of the throws were looking. Like he doesn't, he looks the part, but he just doesn't have a strong arm.
Like I said, if I give you a basketball and you're just shooting the ball with nothing to lose, hey, someone gonna look really good, right? Someone you probably miss more than you make, but they gonna look good though because you're shooting. Now, if I gave her and I say, hey, Deke, you got 5 shots, you can't miss 3. You missed them first 2. You're like, oh man, don't miss. We talk about it all the time. Don't miss.
Short arming it.
Yeah, because now you're playing not to miss or don't airball it or don't hit the backboard. So you're like, oh man, and before you know it, you're not relying on your fundamentals. You're not relying on your God-given ability. You're out here playing to not mess up. You're playing out here to not overthrow, to not underthrow. Oh, I can't throw a pick. That's why we would never tell. It was always funny.
Something's starting to come to me here, but go ahead.
Yeah, but we always talk about a coach. He was a running back coach here in Pittsburgh. He would say he would never tell the running backs, "Hey, don't fumble," because you tell the guy don't fumble. What's he thinking about now?
Yeah,
he's thinking about, oh, I got don't fumble, and before you know it, you fumble. Or hey, don't drop that. You got to make that catch. Don't drop that ball. They drop it because I just can't drop it. Like, and that's the thing is like when you put that in that person's head, they're not playing anymore. They're not playing to just be their best self. They're playing to not mess up, and that's the difference. But like I said, Mason turned the page, man. He's able to come back and look good.
I wonder if it was the injury to the Ravens game, not the injury and him having a concussion that threw him off, but seeing Duck come in and play halfway decent versus the Chargers, Steelers getting a win, where he started to think, oh, now I can't mess up because there's someone behind me.
See, I think it was even before that, bro.
Really?
When they put the first round grade on him, you saw that game from preseason. We saw that game versus the Seahawks in the second half versus when he was on the road in San Fran as QB1. We saw a drastically different quarterback.
Yeah.
Because one was out there, playing to not mess up, playing to be QB1, versus the other guy was, hey, man, I'm playing with house money. I'm the backup. I know I got Ben as the starter. I'm just out here just trying to do me. It's a difference. I think that's where it started because when you can't fault the organization because they might have had a QB grade 1 on them. They might have.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we know that we needed hope. The fan base needed anything.
Yeah, give us something.
So for them, they said, hey, let's throw that out there. But from then on, that's when it changed. Because now you go from, if you're just a 3rd round quarterback, hey, whatever Mason does is great. Don't worry about it. Russell Wilson, hey, he was 3rd round quarterback. His first 2, it was great. It's different, though, when you say you're the 1st round grade quarterback. It's different because now you expect so much more. And that was the difference. We talked about how we looked at the numbers between Duck and Mason, how they were almost identical or Mason's numbers were better. But what did we say? Oh, you feel way better about Duck's numbers because Duck had the low expectations undrafted free agent, whereas Mason, it's the 1st round grade. It's the 3rd round draft pick, man. He got to ball out. We expect so much more from him. It's the standards. It's the expectations associated with him. The funny thing is when you look at Duck and Mason stats combined, they total 18 touchdowns, 17 picks. So both of them have struggled. Both of them have had multi-interception games. Both of them have 4 interception games.
You know what it felt like to me yesterday? The analogy I'm going to use is definitely this guy has way more talent and is the best of all time almost. But LeBron James in the Mavs finals versus, the finals that succeeded that where like you saw the real guy show up where what he could be, what he's capable of. And I guess you saw that with Mason where his first stint as starter was that Mavs finals for LeBron. And then something happened where he had that fall and it's just like, man, I just got to go for this. And then you saw with Doc, I guess, just you literally saw it where his throws, because I rewatched the game. I don't know if I was blinded, if we were blinded, but what? Steeler Nation. I don't know.
I was thinking.
But like, there's no way that Duck's balls were looking like that during the 3-game win streak, were they? Because once Mason came in, the velocity on those balls was like, wow.
I talked to you about Duck's passes. I talked to you about those. And even some of the film sessions that we do, you can check out the film sessions, Master Moats film sessions on YouTube.
Check those out.
Where I talk about some of the touchdown passes and some of the success that Duck was having. I said, versus quality opponents versus good defenses. That's not happening. I talked about how when you tried the James Washington touchdown pass versus the Browns, you're like, oh, that's James Washington. I mean, that's Duck. That's Duck. And I said, no, that's James Washington. And at the time, prisoners of the moment, it's like, no, that's a Duck, though. Duck do that. Duck did that. And I'm like, I have nothing against Duck. I'm glad Duck is here because he helped this team win. He helped this thing grow. But a lot of those passes were the receivers making something happen. The receivers going to go get that ball. That's all I'm saying, man. And it wasn't popular at the time. It wasn't popular at the time. And I was fine with it. I said, look, what did we say? We said, you are kind of like just the hard, like Steeler Nation homer with it, whereas I'm more of the realistic, just I'm going to tell y'all what y'all need to hear. It might not be what you want to hear, but it's what you need to hear.
It was what we needed to hear.
Yeah.
It was. And
but I like I said, I received it on multiple fronts, man. Hey,
I didn't want to listen.
A lot of people.
I was telling you, man, I was going off the information I knew. We've had a quarterback for 15, 16 years.
And I told you also from personal experiences, man.
But no, you really laid it out for me the last podcast or two, where it was like, oh, the fans started talking like this. Yeah. And this is what was going on in the media. Yeah. And I didn't know it was like that, man. Yeah, man. And now I'm humbled. Yeah. I apologize. I'm going to get better. And I told you that in text.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
I am humbled.
I want to speak on a positive note, though, man. I don't like all this negativity. I don't like this loom and gloom. I got two positives that I definitely want to shout out. One on offense, one on defense.
In the game or just in general?
In the game and overall.
Okay.
Number one, on the offense side of the ball, Deontay Johnson. I mean, can we talk about him for a little bit? The kid's balling out. I felt like he was hitting a rookie wall. And
he even said it.
Yeah, but he's been continuing to keep his head down and just grind and get through it. You look at his numbers yesterday, 8 catches, 81 yards, the big touchdown. I mean, like, just think about him over the past 3 games. Buffalo being the down game for him, right? Boy, he ran back the punt. I mean, he was one of the main reasons why they went on the road in Arizona.
Yep.
Huge performance yesterday versus the Jets. For me, I was really impressed with him because he was the guy who was inconsistent, like a lot of rookies are, which you always hear that out of my mouth, right? Because I know how rookies is 50-50. Which is why I usually don't put a lot of stock in them because I know how this goes. But when you look at Deontay, man, like I was just very impressed with him, just how he's continuing to make plays, he's continuing to be impactful. And for me, man, just seeing how much is grown from the beginning of the season, where he kind of got in the dog hole, right? Where he was kind of just like, I don't know about Deontay.
Yeah, some of the fumbles and everything.
Yeah, but now you're seeing this dude be one of the consistent contributors to this team's efforts. Like I'm very proud of that, man. So I just wanted to give him a shout out, man.
Dude, definitely. He's been living up to, I guess, what we were talking about in the preseason. I kind of saw it. I was just hoping he'd get the opportunity. And, dude, he's been balling out.
Yeah, man. Electric. Make you miss ability. Could take the top off.
Dude, the one catch, I think it was late in the game. It was literally like a little 3-yard out. He catches it and makes it like 7 or 8 yards just from he juked one way, then juked the other dude out and went forward. That was crazy. Yeah, man. It's so cool.
Like the Duke, and he's coming into his own. I'm really excited to see how he finishes the season, but also his development during the offseason. How we talked about James Washington and his development. I'm ready to see how this guy develops during this offseason and stuff like that. So he was the first one. The second is the pass rushing duo, TJ Watt, Bud Dupree, man. Both of those guys had sacks yesterday. TJ and Bud both at career highs now. TJ at 14, Bud at 10.5. But they join very elite company in terms of they become the 4th pair of Pittsburgh Steelers to have 10 plus sacks in the same season. They joined the list of Lamar Whitley and James Harrison. They joined the list of Jason Gilden and Joey Porter. And they joined the list of Kevin Green and Greg Lloyd.
I was thinking this on my way over. You know how we do those little posts on Instagram with the 4 boxes.
Which 4 would you rather have?
I think that's one. The best pass rushing duo.
We should ask people. I mean, who's the best pass rushing duo, man? Out of those 4 that we just named.
Out of those 4.
Because they've been balling out, man.
They have been. We should make that. Are you good with making that?
That sounds like the next video. You see, I just brought that right there, make the video of it, and then we put the comments up there, man. We got versatility with this thing. We'll figure it out.
We definitely. Oh, I got you now. We can make a video of us talking about it.
Boom.
So the podcast is getting the love as opposed to just a hard post. Man.
Come on, man.
Oh,
We're trying to win a championship here, bro.
I did see you switch your tune. You went from just you looking at me having the low key conversation to
man.
looking at the camera.
Come on, man. It's not my first rodeo. You see the sweater I got on today, man. This is strategic, baby.
Darth Vader, did you see it?
Dark side.
Did you see it?
I haven't seen it yet, man. I was actually watching James Madison University win the semifinal game to go play the national championship game. Shout out to Go Dukes. That's what I was doing.
You didn't have time to see it this weekend. That's what you're saying.
Nah.
It was pretty good. I saw it. I saw it opening night.
Okay, sweet.
It was pretty good.
I'm definitely looking forward to checking it out then, man.
Yeah, maybe we could review it another time.
Might have to do
have
that, man.
have our own little grades, our Rotten Tomato grades for it.
I like it.
But we'll make a video on that. My awareness is terrible. Like you know that. You know that with me, dude. Like it's just awful.
It happens. But you're dope at editing though, so we're good, bro.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. No, I think we got everything we needed in that little minute and a half there.
But then also let's see what else could we do I want to think about with this game though, man. I guess the elephant in the room, right? In terms of Juju.
Oh man,
how are you feeling about him this year, man? And in particular that game, man. I feel like he's another polarizing figure, right?
He definitely is. And here's my problem. And I guess it's something I can ask you, but I don't really have a problem with this stuff off the field. And that's what it seems like the conversation is with him. I don't get why, man. Like, I don't know if it's because he's not performing to the level that we expect him to, where people want to bring this stuff up. Yeah. But, I mean, what does that really have to do? Although I do have people, we're at the Madden tailgate, or doing the Madden challenge down there, and I got this dude in my ear chirping about, like, what do you think of Juju, dude? And what do you think about him going up to, these colleges and hanging out, or, playing video games, streaming, this and that? I'm like, dude, I mean, I don't really know. I hope he's enjoying his life. I mean, I don't really know what you want me to say. Like, I like Juju. And then he's like, but you know what, man? AB wouldn't be doing that. AB's in the lab. AB's doing this and this. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, dude. I mean, I'm not going to argue with you on that. But so, I don't know. I really don't know what to think. I like Juju. And what do you think? What do you think in terms of that criticism of the off the field stuff?
I'll talk about it, man. So this is actually why I wanted to bring it up, man, because we got this platform. We can really go out here and talk about these situations. I think one of the things that you talked about in terms of why do people view it negatively when Juju is out doing things on social media or he's out at a party or whatever it may be. The issue is this. It's hard for people to look at the athletes as people. They view them as number 19. They view them as, this is my wide receiver in fantasy or whatever it may be, and I expect him to produce to this level. If he doesn't, then anything that he's doing other than producing or other than practicing is the reason why. When, let's be real about it, it's 24 hours in a day, right? You spend, 10 hours of work at football or doing football work, and then you probably have another 2 to 3 hours that you're spending just getting on your body, making sure that's healthy. So you still have you do the math on that. If it was 13 hours, you got 11 left. You still got to have 7 to sleep. So that window is very small of what you have in terms of free time. And that's not counting food or talking to your loved ones. So for me, I always found it funny that people expect athletes to be just football 24/7, no life. But then they're the same people that when they leave work, they're not thinking about their job. When they leave work, they can't wait to get home and watch a movie. They can't wait to go home and play a game. They can't wait to go to that party on the weekend. Why do you think nightclubs are so popular on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? People can't wait to get there.
And if you're asking these people, you feel like you need that.
Right. You need to unwind, right? I got to. It's just so overwhelming. You don't think Juju was feeling that? You don't think the expectations from this season, the AB nonsense from last season, you don't think that Juju needs to unwind every once in a while?
Yeah.
And for me, that was the thing that always rubbed me the wrong way with people in terms of how they view professional athletes, because Juju is a person like everybody else. And I don't care. He could play the game all day. It does not have an effect on what he does on Sundays.
Exactly.
Let's be real about it. And then another thing that had got me when they're saying, well, what about AB? AB's always working. AB's always doing this.
That's the thing.
Wait.
Go ahead.
This is what I was about to get on. That's a misconception. Now, I'll tell people all the time, the two hardest workers I've ever seen in my life were AB and Le'Veon. Next was Debo. Those three dudes were in a class by themselves. But I will say this. Just because one person posts their workouts doesn't mean they're working out all the time. But that's the misconception with social media. You see a person, AB posted a video, said he's catching balls at 3 a.m. He works out all the time. Oh, man, Le'Veon posted a video. He's got 30 abs. Like, yo, he's a beast. Man, Debo's up at 5 a.m. lifting the house. Like, Joe, he's on another level. Juju's playing video games. What? Juju, why you playing video games? Just because Juju ain't post a workout video don't mean that man not working out like crazy. You don't make it to this level if you don't work out. You don't make it to this level if football isn't a priority. You don't have the type of success that Juju has had at this level if it's not a priority to you. If it's not football first, the brand and fun and everything else second. Yeah. You don't make it here. And that's the thing that always rubbed me wrong when I would see people say that or try to use that as a reason why Juju's not having a successful season. Juju's not having a successful season because, number one, he has been making the catch he needs to make. He had a rougher adjustment time to not having AB, to not having Ben. He's had to adjust to receiving the attention of a number one receiver. Like, all of those factors play into why he's not having the year you want to have. Not him playing video games, not him being out in the community donating bikes and buying gifts for people at Walmart, not him being at a house party on a Friday. That has nothing to do with that. Because trust me,
I'm with you, dude.
The same people that when you talk about, well, that guy, he's not out at a house party on Friday or Saturday. Okay, but cool. What if he's doing all type of hard liquor and drugs at his house? Which I know people that do that. I've played with people. I'm not going to say where. I was a part of 3 organizations, a lot of teammates. But I know for a fact, I've seen it with my own eyes. Guys that would get trashed on Friday. No social media, though, so you don't know that. You like, hey, man, that dude's a hard worker, man. Hey, he ain't out here doing nothing. All the videos we've seen Juju at them house parties. All the times we've seen Juju playing games. You see any drugs? You see any alcohol? No, right? What have you seen him consume? That's all I'm saying. That's not the narrative, though. And that's the thing I'm just trying to tell people be cautious of.
I got 2 things.
Yeah.
So even if it wasn't the case with AB, even if what you're saying is, well, I mean, what you did say is true that he worked out all the time, but there's a flip side to it that, I mean, I'm sure he had his fun and, you know, he had his downtime.
Absolutely.
Even if, like, that wasn't the case and he was constantly just working out nonstop. This goes back to your first point. Juju's not AB.
Correct.
They're their own people. You gotta look.
We talk Big Ben versus Drew Brees all the time, right?
Yeah.
How one is super meticulous, gonna do all his things, and we talk about how Ben is more of just, hey, I got it, I'm gonna feel it, I'm just gonna show up and make it happen. We talk about the different styles. Both are Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Both are elite quarterbacks. It's multiple ways to get the job done. There's multiple ways to be an elite level player in this league.
Yes.
And that's the thing that people got to understand and realize. Like, it's not a cookie cut. This is how you be successful. Now, I will say this. There is a higher percentage of you being successful if you follow this mode of film study. If you follow that mode of workout multiple times, this and that, diet and all that stuff. But I can tell you firsthand, I was very successful in this league, had a long career. I picked and choose which things I wanted to follow and which things I didn't want to follow. Juju's doing the same. AB's doing that. The list goes on and on and on and on. So
no,
take it for what it is in that regard.
No, and even though just looking at them outside of athletes, like what if Juju's priorities of being the greatest football player ever is a little less than AB?
Yeah, right.
What is wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong
wrong with that. So the conversation should simply be about, hey man, you got to catch that ball,
right?
Or the fumble with the Saints last year, the fumble with the Ravens, like
correct.
Bro,
get off of social media, stop playing games, stop going to house parties. That has nothing to do with him playing and being successful.
I wanted to bring another thing up too. I would be interested to see AB's first 4 or 5 years, his stats versus Juju's, because I know obviously Juju benefited from AB. Correct. But, I mean, AB at the time, him coming in the league, there was Emmanuel Sanders. I think Mike Wallace was still on the team. And I just feel like there's a development process there where AB became AB in year 4 or 5. Yeah. And he went on that crazy 6-year stretch. I mean, up to this point, Juju is young. He came into the league young.
Yeah.
This is his 3rd year. I don't know how old he is. Is he 23, 24? I
think he's 23 right now.
I guess pretty crazy for what he's accomplished up to this point. And maybe this...
Because I want to say he's younger than Doug.
Yeah.
I want to say he's younger than Duck. Yeah.
Maybe this is a thing like with Mason this season where it's a reflective.
Yeah.
You know, I got to look back, look myself in the mirror. Maybe I didn't do everything I needed to do if I really want it.
Grow and get better.
Yeah, if I really want it like that, then I mean, there's ebbs and flows to it. I think AB had a year in between his. There was a 1,000-yard year, and then when he started going on his 1,000-yard consecutive stretches of him having like 800 yards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But AB wasn't AB then. Juju was Juju when he came into the league. Like he already had that brand, that personality. Second round pick. Yeah. So
it's a little different, man.
There's a lot that plays into it.
But hey, shout out to what you just said too about AB and how he grew into AB. And this is why I always tell people sometimes when they're like, Coach Tomlin has benefited from always having these guys. He's like, oh, he's had Big Ben, he's had AB, he had L Bell. You have to remember, he coached them before they were AB, before they were L Bell, before he was calling L Bell, it was Le'Veon. And he was big. Remember that. Coach T helped him develop that. Coach T was the one who told him he needed to lose the weight to get better, and then he saw
his rookie year, he averaged less than 4 yards a carry.
Then remember, Coach T was coaching AB before when AB was just Antonio. Yeah, when it was just, you showed up late for this meeting, we're gonna bench you right now. Coach T was there for all that. That's crazy to me to think about that, like because it's so easy. People just get caught up in the whole. Well, they were already elite. It's like no, they weren't. They weren't. I know for a fact because I played against both of them before they were.
They definitely had flashes young, but in terms of
they weren't on that level.
Best in the league category.
Correct.
Yeah, that was not there yet. Yeah, dude, that was a nice little conversation though.
It was, man. I did have another question for you. Though,
go ahead.
Hines Ward received the Gatorade bath after the game. How'd you feel about it?
Man, I had something teed up if they were to lose because I was gonna rip on Hines and say, "Listen, dude, you don't do that. Like you screwed your team. You brought too much hype into this game." And, but they won, so I guess he gets his Gatorade back. Yeah. Whatever. It was kind of funny. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. Whatever. Like he's got close ties here, and I think that's all he meant by it, and that's all we should take by it. It was just like a funny little thing. Because the Jets are down this year. I mean, they're not going to the playoffs. I'm sure if like they were going to be the 5th or 6th seed or had the potential to win their division and they had more to do this season, I'm sure that wouldn't have happened.
Well, because I heard some people make the argument of why are you getting a bath and celebrating your Jets team beating a wounded Steelers team, limping in, all this other stuff.
Dude, their season's over. I mean, just have fun. We talked about it with Cam last podcast. He said, you got to have fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
These dudes are putting their lives on the line out there.
You got to have fun, man. For me, man, I liked it because, and I look at it different than how you did. For me, I said, I know what it's like when you play against your old team. For him, he played against, this is his old team that he played for, bled for, won a Super Bowl with. It's also a team that he's coached and interned for multiple times and wanted to be the receivers coach, but hasn't got that opportunity. And not saying whether or not they should have hired him or shouldn't. I'm not going down that. I'm just saying like he wanted to be the coach, the receivers coach here on multiple times. So for him, I know for me, when you get to go against your old organization, a team that you've been a part of for multiple years, you want to beat them on any day of the week. It feels like Christmas. You listen to Kelvin Beachum after the game. He said that was the best win of his career. And he's been a part of division championships. We were teammates together. We've had a ton of success in Pittsburgh. But it's different when you leave. You want to beat that team because you always saying in the back of your mind, y'all could have had me. Y'all had me. Y'all let me leave. If you're Hines, man, you ain't hired me as the coach. I wanted to be the coach. You know what I could do. If you beat you, like, man, I know I got paid, but still, y'all could have paid me. Like, that's the vibe. So for me, I'm like, yeah. It was times when we played Buffalo. I'm like, I wanted the Gatorade bath too. Every time we beat them, felt great. That's how it goes, man.
Because we didn't really talk about it too much last podcast because Bell downplayed it, so he was feeling the same thing.
Absolutely. You saw how huggy he was after the game, right? Trust me. You're not huggy like that if you lose. No, because you sick. You like, man, I can't believe we got beat with them boys, man. Now they over here thinking like, yeah, we ain't need him anyways. Nah, but Elba, he's like, shoot, man, I got off too. I had 93 total yards, 72 on the ground, had some in the air.
He definitely did make an impact.
Yeah, like for him, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna hug it up with everybody. You saw he posting pictures on the gram after the game. Yo, man, it's family, it's all love. Yeah, I did the same thing when we beat the Bills. Oh, it's all love. Come here, hey, I'll pray with you guys too, baby. It's all love, man. Hey, you want to switch jerseys? You want to do that? I call you, all right? If we would have lost, man, don't talk to me, man. Y'all leave me alone. I ain't talking to you, coach. I ain't looking over there. Don't shake my hand, but you ain't my man. I'm deleting him on my phone right now. Yeah, it's different.
My dad brought that up to me as we were watching the game. He saw Hines in the Jets hoodie on their sideline. He's like, what's he doing there? Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, he wants to get into coaching. Like, you take what opportunity you can get. And if you say it's true that we didn't give him the opportunity, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, literally, my last 3 years, he would intern doing training camp and be the coach, like the intern receivers coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good for him. I mean, you can't just stick. It's very unlikely if you're going to go from player to coach that you're going to stick with the same organization the whole time.
Yeah.
If you're lucky enough to get that opportunity, I think Joey Porter.
Joey had to go to Colorado State first.
Well, even in terms of playing though, he went to Miami and AZ. Hines went straight Steelers his whole career.
Yeah, that's rare. That's rare.
To go from straight Steelers your whole career to straight Steelers and coaching that's probably impossible.
Yeah, that's rare.
Like if you want to move up, like probably if you want to go from receivers coach to potentially like offensive coordinator, you'd have to go to a different team.
Right. If he wanted to go and be the card guy, the GA, the grunt guy, yeah, he could have came to Pittsburgh and done that. But no, you know how hard it is to move up from the grunt guy to being the receivers coach or being the offensive coordinator. You have to leave. Byron Leftwich, he's another guy did it. He had to leave. Larry Foote was my linebackers coach in AZ. Now he's out in Tampa. You don't think he would want to coach in Pittsburgh? It's just how it is, man.
It's not easy.
Not at all, man. Not at all.
Yeah, dude.
But shout out to the Steelers organization, though, man. All the awesome, talented players they've had come.
You had your two little things there, and those were nice. Those were hot topics there.
Oh, mess.
I got another question for you though, because people were railing on him like no other, and it's more of an afterthought to me. I don't really know what people were expecting, but Randy Finkner as offensive coordinator, people were really frustrated with him.
Fire Randy, he sucks.
I just don't know. I mean, do you understand it? Like, what else could he be doing differently that's so crazy?
I already told you how it goes, man. People wanted, they were accustomed to 30 points a game. They were accustomed to Big Ben. They were accustomed to that style offense. Ben goes down. The offense looks drastically different, as it would on 99% of these other teams out here. And they're like, we got to point the finger at somebody. All right, first we pointed at the quarterback. And then even when Duck was having success and Mason had success, they never credited Randy. You remember that, right? We would have to come up here and say, give him credit. But anytime they look bad, who are they pointing the finger at? Oh, it's got to be Randy Finkner. It's got to be him. The coach can only do so much. The coach can only put you in the best position to put you in. You got to go out there and execute. And then I'll take it a step further. And this is what I hinted at when we had the Bills game and Duck went out there and had the 4 picks. Remember what I told you? I said, it's funny how when Randy is keeping Duck safe in terms of minimizing his exposure to the defense, that's what he said. That's what Coach Thomas said. He's like, he's not having him throw the ball a lot. He's very safe. He's very calculated with the passes. Mason Rudolph too. Remember that. Remember what Mason is like, very calculated. West Coast style offense. Remember we talked about that. And what did everybody say? Oh, you got to call the plays, let them stretch it downfield. These guys are talented. You got to let them throw it out there. And they kept saying, no. We know what we're doing here. Because as a player, I've seen it. And then them as coaches, they know what it's like when it's a young player out there. That's a disaster waiting to happen if you have them out here just throwing the ball like crazy. Then you see the game where it does happen, where he does, quote unquote, take the training wheels off. And we saw the outcome of it. Then, it's back on Finkner. Finkner should have done that. Finkner should have done this. You can't be calling those plays. Run the ball. You got to run the ball. But when he was running the ball, you got to throw the ball more. I always tell people this, man. I love fans, but fans are like the mob back in like the gladiator time, right? Think about like the gladiators, right? When they would come into the arena, they're fighting and it's thumbs up, thumbs down. You win the mob, you win your freedom, Like that's what it is.
Dude, it is.
Like if Steeler Nation loves you, like think Juju, right? With Juju, because he's won the mob, right? They love Juju here. Juju could have a bad game. We've seen Juju fumble the ball at costly times in the game. We've seen him drop passes, right? But it's always the support. You can never really bash him, right? Because Steeler Nation will go crazy because he's won the mob. Fichtner hasn't won the mob. So even when Fichtner does well, he still gets bashed. If the team does well, it's because of somebody else. If they do bad, it's because of him. And that's the thing.
Do coordinators or coaches really ever win the mob?
Tomlin did for a little while, but now you see even yesterday how they came back at him.
They're back, yeah.
Yeah. That's the mob.
Tomlin did, his first 3-4 years.
Yeah.
We won a Super Bowl.
Right.
We have some good playoff runs.
It's rough. And that's why we always tell
funny.
people, like, that's what we always tell, like when we would talk to fans and they're like, well, you should cut this guy. I'm like, GMs don't listen to you guys because y'all are so wishy-washy. We talked about how we can pull up tweets. We could pull up messages that said,
you can go to my IG.
Throw the ball more. You got to take the training wheels off. Let this guy cut it loose. And then you see when it does cut loose, oh, man, why would you do that? That's a terrible idea. You can't do that. He's a young quarterback. It's the mob. Juju, and we talked about Juju. The same excuses that they make for Juju. Just listen to this. This is, and like I said, I love Juju. This is my boy. Teammates, everything. You already know this. Juju numbers have been down this year, right? First, they were like, well, he's been hurt. Okay, but even in the games he's played, he's been down, right? They're like, well, first, he was double teamed all the time. We looked at the film. That was a myth. We said, okay, cool. Then it was like, well, it's because he got a young quarterback. We said, so it affects Juju because he has a young quarterback. But then we just praised Deontay Johnson and James Washington and how they've been balling out. Deontay Johnson is a couple catches off of having the Steelers rookie record for receptions. So it's like, but you just see the difference of you can use that excuse for Juju. Like, that's why. But even though it's like, well, over here, that's not the case because those guys got throwing him the ball. They've been out there. They got the same situation. You win the mob. You win your freedom, baby. You win the mob, they're going to love you forever. I benefited from the mob too. Bills Mafia and Steeler Nation. Hey, I had some games where I was like, ooh, this was bad. You can't bash me. Hey, man, don't cross the moats, man. We got love for that boy. Da-da-da-da, man. Oh, look at him in the community. I love this guy. He retweeted me. They love it. Yeah. Tell you, man. Hey, the mob is different.
It's funny, dude.
It's the truth.
Well, a good way to put it or look at it too, even is Mason's quarter and a half here in this Jets game. The same plays or the same play caller is at the helm for that.
Right. When people were screaming to kick the field goal before half and Randy Fichtner dialed up the touchdown pass. Oh, you love Mason for that, not the play call to say, hey, I'm not going to kick the field goal right here. Let's take a shot at the end zone.
Yeah, maybe we could just say
like, what?
Mason, for some of that stretch, just wasn't hitting those throws from the play calls that Fichtner was dialing up.
That does not fit the narrative, all right? Even the games when Duck was balling out, that doesn't fit the narrative. That was just Duck overcoming bad play calling. That's it's the narrative, bro. You know how this goes, man. Stop it. You better stop for the mob. Get on you.
I don't get it, man.
Hey, you better leave them alone. We let you steal the nation.
I think I'm on the mob side.
You were part of the mob for a while.
No, but like I feel like I could say that, and it's almost like though maybe I'm the connector.
I hope so.
In a way from the mob and the maybe how people should be looking at things, or the hey, maybe we could look at this a different way, or what is truth and what's not. Maybe I could be the connector.
That's a lot to ask of you, Deke.
It is, but
be careful. That's all I'm gonna say. Be careful.
What do you mean? Be careful.
The mob is different. The mob is different, boy. You be having to do jersey giveaways to go. I'm telling you, get them back on your team. Better leave them alone. Y'all still the nation. I'm on y'all team.
There are no connectors, is what you're saying.
I'm on y'all team. I don't know what Deke talking about. Y'all are always right. All right. Period.
People that set out to be the connector,
they don't end well, man.
It don't end well.
You gotta pick a side. That's what they say. Pick a side. Fire them all. Yeah.
I told you though.
Remember, they wanted to fire Coach T earlier this year too, man. Fire them all.
But here's the thing though, as individuals, we don't want to be put in boxes. I told you that before.
I've been marched to my own drum.
Yeah, exactly.
Through it all, man. I felt like Kanye going through the wire for a little while, man, with some of the stuff I've received.
There's a new level then. There's not a connector in between. There's an elevated where you're above it and you see
that's
see
how
all
I operate,
sides.
Man. I'm a man on the hill looking across and trying to let people know what's up. That's how I look at it. I see it from a different perspective. Whoa, sometimes you throw stones at that man, but sometimes it's like he might be right.
That's funny, dude. Yeah, man. We got anything else? I think we touched on everything.
Yeah, that was a lot, man. It was fun though. Always a good time.
This was a blast.
Yes, it was, man. And yeah, if you want to talk playoff scenarios, we still got hope, ladies and gentlemen. So Here we go. Listen up. We got 4 ways in which this thing works. First off, if
you got them all.
I had to just talk about them on Steelers.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. Break it down for us then.
Steelers win, Titans lose or tie, Steelers get in. Steelers tie, Titans lose, we get in.
Whoa.
Steelers lose, Titans lose, then the Colts have to lose. I think no, the Colts have to win and the Raiders have to lose for us to get in. And then the fourth scenario, this is the one that don't quote me on this because I can't even remember all the teams. Steelers lose, Titans lose. Then the Bears, Lions, Chargers, Colts, and the Patriots have to lose. And if any of those 5 I just named win a game, then the Raiders get in.
The Raiders?
Yes, the Raiders would get in. Yes, because apparently the Raiders had like 5 things that had to happen last week, and all 5 of them did.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, are they 7-8 right now? They won.
I want to say they
have
won,
to be then.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And then because we lost, that played into one of the things that they needed to do.
Wow.
Yeah. So we got 4 situations where it can work out for us, guys. 4.
I'm happy you brought this up because I was thinking on my way over, man, if we get in and we're like 8-8, even 9-7, like that would just be, of all the 8-8 or like those borderline teams to get in.
That would be the epitome of the people that you don't like too, man.
What do you mean?
8-8 teams getting in the playoffs. Well, you don't like that.
Yeah, unless we're getting in, and
you don't like it though. You don't like it.
I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I mean, this team getting in compared to we probably had 3 or 4 8-8 teams.
2012 and 13, back to back.
2012 and 13, but we had another one after our Super Bowl, our 05 Super Bowl. We had an 8-8, and then we might have 13.
They should have made it, but that's
we might have had one after. I could be wrong on this. After the 08 Super Bowl, 09 we might have won 8-8. I think we've had 4, but. In those 4 seasons...
This is the worst one.
What?
This is the worst one?
This would be the worst one, but we had chances in all those where it was similar. Like, it came down to the last thing, and like this and this had to go right.
For a fact in 13, it was what I'm saying. Came out to a field goal kick.
If this team gets in out of all those other ones where we had Ben and... Like we would go.
Would you be happy?
No, we're in the playoffs, but I'm just saying it would be very ironic.
It would.
Very ironic because those teams... I felt like could always play with anyone.
Yeah, way more talented, just inconsistent.
Way more talented because we would start off slow. We'd be like 2-6, 1-4, and then we'd go on like this really nice 7-8 game run. Yeah, we already put ourselves in too big of a hole.
Mm-hmm. I mean, every year the Steelers go on one of them 6-7 game runs. They did it this year too.
We did it. Yes.
Every year they go on. They did it last year.
Yep.
The 4 years I was here, we always were going a 10-9 win run. So
I will be pissed off in a way because I'm thinking to myself, man, why couldn't that dude hit that field? It was the Chiefs.
Yeah, it was the Chiefs guy. Yeah, Santos with the little.
Oh man, dude,
got the little arms.
Yeah, there was the fix might have been in there.
You never know.
There was something going on.
Never know.
That was ridiculous. But of
either
all
way, the Titans got to lose.
All the 8-8 teams. Geez, if this one gets in, but hey, I'll take it because we got another week to talk Steelers and see what happens.
So it's gonna be interesting, baby.
We do need Mason, in my opinion, though.
Well, Mason's gonna be gone unless we go to the AFC Championship game, buddy.
You think he's out that long?
That's what they said. Multiple weeks.
What is it? What type of injury?
They haven't said it yet, but they said it's definitely multiple weeks though.
Now, my boy, I went over to my buddy's house last night, and he brought up the scenario that he thought Mason like kind of was soft and didn't want to go back in, and he just didn't have it. I disagreed with him. I completely disagreed with him. I was like, come on, dude. Like he might have broke his collarbone or something.
Easily.
Like, you don't know.
Or separated a shoulder.
Yeah. Easily. So
nonsense.
I said there was no way. So, but I told him, I said,
you don't get to this level being soft. You don't get to this level not having that competitive juice, not having that competitive bone.
I told him I'd reference him on the podcast though. So
shout out to him, but I don't even know if that's a shout out because that was
I definitely disagree with him. He said like Cutler. It was like a Cutler.
No, but I've heard that before though. Like
people were saying that today.
Yeah, and that's why I was just like, nah, that's not the case. Like my man's legit jacked up right now.
That's what I figured too.
Yeah. And if that's the case, you can make the same argument about James Conner, right? Oh man, well, did James shut it down? What happened to James? Like, no, These guys, you don't sacrifice everything to get to this level to, oh, I'm going to sit out. The thing with Jay Cutler, he just had bad body language, bad facial expressions. If Jake looked fire, if Jake could give you just the grunt, oh, I want to be out there, totally different perspective. But because
you're thinking that's a whole phony scenario too.
Yes, but because Jay has that nonchalant demeanor, that I ain't really worried about nothing demeanor, it makes people mad because they're like, I invest so much, I pay my hard-earned dollars, I got money on the game, I need you guys to win, and you out here like you don't care. Yeah,
I feel you.
Yeah,
and what's funny is it would completely be the opposite of everything we've talked about with Mason or know him to be, where he's the one that is trying too hard,
right.
Really wants to be
for him to just be like, yeah, I'm gonna take it off now, guys.
I'm sure after him getting benched, he would want to just give up that position like that.
Right. I'm gonna leave on a high note, throw a touchdown, I'm gonna holler. Nah, bruh, not happening.
That's funny, dude. Anyway, I think we capped everything here.
I like it, man. So yeah, hope for the best as this thing continues to progress, and we'll keep you guys updated on the injuries and things like that we get info on.
Definitely.
Yeah, always appreciate y'all tuning in.
Moatstheory.com.
Oh, definitely check out moatstheory.com. Get the book.
I started reading it. I'm like 30 pages in.
Serious? Well, shout out to you. I thought that would never happen, man. I thought it was gonna be like a gift that you just let collect dust.
I'd re-gift.
Yeah, I thought you ain't know. Hey, I got you this book.
Hey, I got you this. Moats signed this for you.
Yeah. Don't worry. I think he just put Deke. I don't even know what he was trying to put up there, but it's for you.
I think he meant like as the family.
Right.
It could be like my cousin or something. That's what he meant.
I thought it was a family last name, so he just says Deke for everyone.
No, it's good though, man.
No,
it got me hyped, dude. It got me hyped.
That's what I'm hoping to do with the book, man. And like I said, so far everybody's been very positive in terms of the reception to it, the teachings and the lessons that I talk about in there, man. So definitely appreciate everybody that's read it, man. Appreciate you. So if you haven't got a copy yet, go check it out. Moatstheory.com. The paperbacks are available right now. After the new year, we will have the hardbacks that will be available. I know it's a crowd that does like the hardbacks, so those will be available.
Those are bookshelf people. They like to put them on the bookshelf and show them off.
Absolutely. And then I know my parents, they want the hardback. They just like, oh, it's more official. It's the hardbacks. So all right. Yeah. And also, if you're in town, if you're in the Pittsburgh area, December 27th, I'll be at Rivers Casino doing a book signing as well. Yeah, man. I'll be doing a book signing. I think it's from 4 to 6 p.m. at Rivers Casino. If you need more info, you can go to 937 The Fan. They got that there. If you're trying to pull up, see the boy, get a copy of the book signed, I got you.
If I show up, if you guys want to find me, I'll be gambling, watching games.
Boom. There you go right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Moats will be signing books, inspiring people. I'll be a degenerate.
On a heater. I love it. So, yeah, man, I think that's all the info, right?
That's everything, dude.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Merry Christmas, man, because we probably won't be able to tell y'all that. The next podcast probably be after Christmas, so Merry Christmas to everybody.
We'll say Happy New Year for that one.
Yeah, Happy New Year for that one. It's Merry Christmas. Or Happy Christmas if you're into that. I know some people are Happy Christmas people. I'm a Merry Christmas guy. So make sure y'all enjoy your holidays with the people you want to be around and away from the people you don't want to be around, because we got those people too.
That happens.
Yeah, and like I said, man, appreciate y'all for tuning in. And until next time.
Peace.